Hey guys, welcome back to Learn Python the Hard Way. In this exercise, we're going to learn the vocabulary we're going to use when working with object-oriented programs. So the previous exercise, we already wrote a program that was object-oriented. Now we're going to learn a little bit more how to properly speak object-oriented. Specifically, we have a number of different word drills that we are going to use and learn about. And as always, you can find the link to the current chapter in the description below. This is part of the paid section of the book. If you have the paid section, then of course you can follow along. Alternatively, feel free to just follow along with the video. So in terms of the word drills, first of all, we have a class. So this basically tells Python to make a new type of thing. So we would use a class and then instantiate it to basically create an object. An object basically has two meanings. First of all, it's the most basic type of thing and any instance of something. So if we talk about an instance, that is what we get when we tell Python to create a class. Then of course we are using a def, for example, inside of a class to define a function inside of a class. When we define a function, we use self quite often. So we use it inside the function in a class, and in there, self is a variable for the instance object that is being accessed. So whenever we want to refer back to the object we create from a class, we would use self to differentiate it from a local variable. Next we have inheritance. That's a concept that one class can inherit traits from another class, for example, like ourselves and our parents, for example. Then we have composition. This is a concept that a class can be composed of other classes as parts, such as when a car has wheels, for example. We also have attributes, which are property classes, properties that classes have that are from composition and are usually variables that we are working with. And then we have two types of relationships. The first one is a, so phrase to say that something inherits from another, as for example in salmon is a fish. And then we have a has a relationship, so that is a phrase to say that something is composed of other things or has a trait, as in a salmon has a mouth. So these are some of the key words we're going to be using. So ideally we should start memorizing them and, for example, write them down on flashcards so we can practice with those and just get familiar with the terminology. So next we have a couple of phrase drills. So here we have a list of Python code snippets and also the English sentences covering what they actually stand for. So the first one here would be make a class named X that is a Y. So basically we would inherit from Y, and our class itself of course is called X. So we pronounce it as make a class named X that is a Y. Next, inside of a class here we have an init function. So we would pronounce it here as class X has a, which is a relationship, init function that takes self and j parameters. Next we have here class X has a function named M that takes self and j parameters. After that we start initiating a class, or excuse me, an object using that class. So set foo, which is the name of the object, to an instance of class X. After we've done that, of course, we can perform some functions on that object. So here we say from foo get the M function and call j, and call it with parameter self j. And finally we have this here, from foo, our object, get the k attribute and set it to q. So that's basically how we would pronounce it. And of course, those variables here, those letters, for example, x, y, m, j, k, or q, and foo, we can basically treat those as blank spots. So just in the same way we could, as we said, for example, in the beginning here, make a class named X that is a Y. We could just replace that with question marks, for example, with placeholders. So make a class named anything that is a Y, for example. And these are basically the same statements that we already took a look at, just with question marks characters. And again, we can write these down on flashcards and just drill them to get familiar with how we would properly pronounce that, how we would properly speak about that, so we have the right terminology. Okay, and then we can continue with combined drills. So what we can do is we can combine the word drills that we started off with initially, for example, what a class is or what an object is, and then we can use those phrase drills. We can write those down on some notes and then test it, and we can keep on going until we are familiar with that. But let's actually switch over to some code, and here we have a bit of code that we can write out that helps us basically practice this part. So actually I wrote this down ahead of time, but feel free of course to open a new terminal window here and then to open a new code file to type out this code. And just to take a look at that, what we start off with is we import random here, the random module, and then from the URL lib.request we import URL open to be able to open a URL on the web, and we import this module. Then we set up the word URL variable here, and we set that up to the specific link, and we create a words list which is empty for right now. And now we have a couple of phrases which we are going to use going forward to basically test ourselves. So here we have, for example, and this is of course a dictionary. Here we have, for example, a key class. We have some placeholders in here. So in this case here we would have a class that inherits from another class. And this is our key, and then the value for that is basically how we would pronounce it. So in this case here, make a class named placeholder, and of course those placeholders will be replaced going forward. That is another placeholder. So we can use those to test ourselves, and we have all the different phrases that we saw before in here, so we can use that in our code. And then what we do down here is we basically set up the right input. For example, here we check that the input that we provide when we run our program is English, and if that's the case, then we're gonna take phrase first, set that to true, and then basically go with that, because we want to have the English equivalent of the code that we are writing. And then we have the setup here with the different code parts, and we are executing that. And let's actually take a look at that what happens when we execute that. So if we scroll down here to the bottom, we can find that there is this code snippet that we would, or excuse me, this command with a command line argument that we execute to actually run our program here. So we say Python and ooptest.py, that's the name of the code file that we created here, and then we pass English to it. Since if we just take another look at this code here, we set the command line argument, the second one here, to be English. It's of course argv of 1 because it's 0 indexed. So the 0th input would be the name of the file itself, and then followed by the command line argument here, the next one, which we set to English. And now if we execute that, let's do that one more time. Yeah, then we basically get a bit of code here. Oh, okay, and then we can basically start working with it. So this is a command here, make a class named dress. like this. That is a bedroom. So here we would type it like this. We have the class definition as a keyword here to create a new class. We name it dress, and that is a bedroom. So that basically means it inherits here from the bedroom parent class. So that should be the input here, and this is the answer. And ideally we would have added the colon here at the end as well. So this is how we can test ourselves. Now it's going to loop over the different options that we have, and we can basically test ourselves. So for example, here we have the class bucket. That's what we define, and that should have an init function. I'm not sure if it can handle. I think if I press enter, then it's going to show the answer. So let me just type that in the same row here. That has an init function that takes self and chin, like this. Yeah, so that's basically what we wrote here, class bucket, and then def init self chin. And we could continue like that and basically test ourselves. And when we are done, we can just press Control D to exit that. But that can be really helpful, a good program to test ourselves and to get some practice on how we would write out some class definition, for example, or some objects, for example, that we can create based on that, or we can do the reverse. For example, that if we have a statement like this, then what this actually would mean. So we type that out. So that can be really useful. And then of course it's really important that we get more familiar with other code examples. And for that we can read some other code, read some more code. So here what we should be doing is to take a look at some code somebody else wrote, and then for each class give its name and what other class it inherits from, ideally with the same format that we learned before. So we would, for example, say if we have a class that inherits from another class, that basically means make a class named so and so, that is a, and then the parent class. Under that, list every function that it has and the parameters they take, list all of the attributes it uses on itself, and for each attribute it gives a class this attribute. Alright, so to do that we could, for example, switch over to GitHub and just take a look at any code. For example, I searched for Python here, and then I selected the top listed repository, which is TensorFlow in this case. And here we have an example of a file in there called core.py. And of course we initially see a lot of import statements, what we import to work with it. But if we scroll down a little bit, we can see, for example, here we have the class that is being set up here as well. So for example, we could just test ourselves and see, for example, that we create a class symbol that is a tensor. So tensor would be the parent class that we inherit from when working with symbol. And then if we take a look at this here, again, we have a class called value in this case that is a tensor, and inside of the class we have a function that we're defining. So here class value, we create that has a function numpy that takes self as a parameter, and in this case it doesn't do anything, it just passes it. But this is how we can go through the different files, take a look at some other code and just practice what we learned so far. And that's really important going forward when we want to communicate, for example, with other developers. It's important to use precise language. So finally, let's take a look at some common student questions. So the first question is, what does result equals sentence, and then in bracket notation, colon, what does that do? So if we hop back into our code file here, let's just search for that. So here we have that result equals sentence, and then in bracket notation, a colon. So that's a Python way of copying a list. We are using the list slice syntax, which is again this colon here, to effectively make a slice from the very first element to the very last one. So if you wanted to slice not the entire list, but certain elements of it, then of course we would, in front of the colon or after the colon, enter the specific numbers index to basically specify from where to where we want to actually slice our list. But if we don't add that, then we basically take the entire list and we copy it, in this case assign it to the result variable here. Next one, the script is hard to get running if we type it all out. By this point you should be able to type this in and get it working. It does have a few little tricks here and there, but there's nothing complex about it. Just do all the things you've learned so far to debug scripts. Type each line in, confirm that it's exactly like what the author wrote, and then research anything that we don't know about it online. And again, it's still too hard. We can do that. We just need to take it very slow, character by character, and type it in exactly to figure out what it does. So that's it for exercise 41, and see you guys in the next video with the next exercise.